how to invest $1 million in real estate. So welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to answer your question, how to invest $1 million in real estate. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. Since 1970, I've been in the real estate business, involved with investments. Started out with single-family homes, then grew it to apartments, office buildings, and things like that. But 30 years ago, I changed, and I decided I just wanted to do tax lien certificates and tax deeds. Why? Because it took all the risk out of the market. I was looking for a recession-proof market. Now, people don't want to talk about the markets, but you know, if there's a stock market, they're used to it goes up and it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. Well, the metals markets do the same thing. So gold, silver does that. Commodities market do that. I really like tax liens and deeds, and I recommend them simply because we're going to get in a market where we can buy for pennies, which I'll demonstrate to you, and it stays stable. There's always properties going to tax default at auction, and there's always tax liens to do it. So this is not your grandfather's real estate where he said buy it and hold it. Now that's okay if you're using a single family home that you're going to live in because you got to have a place to live. But the real estate market, if you're an investor, is a lot different than that. Okay, now I'm going to go into a lot of things today, but before I end this video, I want you to understand that I'm going to cover two big mistakes, and I'll cover those at the end of the video. So stay with me and I'll cover those mistakes. They're mistakes that people make at the property tax auctions. All right, so retail investors sometimes get caught up with all the hype. You know, you watch those television programs at night, there's a pretty girl and they're destroying a house and then rebuilding it. It starts out as a modest home, the next thing you know, it's a mansion 29 minutes later. That's not what we're talking about here. We are going to buy some houses that are a little bit used and abused, but this is a business where you can make money, and you can make money all the time. So stay tuned with me. I'll come right back. So I'm going to share with you a proven system that's been around for 200 years. It's a good place for you to invest money. Tax lien certificates are the safest and the most lucrative investment in America. But today I'm going to talk about tax deeds, tax defaulted property. Now, where did all this come from? Well, the state legislature authorizes the county to collect taxes. So the treasurer simply does this. The treasurer levies the tax, then they try to collect the tax, and if they can't collect that tax, what are they going to do? Well, the legislature has authorized the treasurer, if they can't collect the tax, they are going to confiscate the property. Now, you don't hear about this every day, but it's happening every day. They confiscate thousands of properties, all right? So everything I'm going to tell you about today is 200 years old. It's all mandated by law. Everything I'm going to talk about, and so I'm going to share some examples with you. Okay, now this strategy really works, and it's worked for decades. By that I mean for 200 years. So why don't I tell you how it works? So if the property owner doesn't pay their property tax, then the local treasurer is going to send many notices. That's called due process of law. So those notices will come out, and if the people don't pay any attention, the sheriff and the treasurer will confiscate the property. When they do that, they seize the property, not only seize it, but they're going to resell it. They don't want the property. The property represents revenue to a county. The county wants revenue for the tax roll. Now, in one of my other videos, and there's lots of other videos in this series, I tell you about all the bills the county has to pay every month. But you know about the school teachers, you know about the police department and the firefighters. They have to be paid. Well, that money comes from property tax. So everyone must pay property tax. And if they don't pay, the sheriff and the treasurer, mostly the treasurer, will confiscate the property, and then they're going to resell it. Now, hard to believe, but there's 5,000 tax auctions every year. 5,000. So there's going to be plenty for everybody. That's 100 auctions every single week across the United States. Some are online, some are offline. So you'll get to learn how to do both of those as we go through this series of videos. All right, so the treasurer is going to, in the process of confiscating the property, they're going to wipe out, they're going to take the mortgage right off the property. They're just going to wipe the property file clean and take the mortgage off the property. All right, they take many of the other encumbrances off the property also. So you're kind of getting the idea. Now we're going to buy property at the auction. Well, what kind of discounts you get there? Generally speaking, tax defaulted properties will sell for 60, 70, 80% below the market or the tax assessed value. 60, 70, or 80%. Now, let's top that off with the treasurer now wiping the mortgage off the property. Are you going to get a good deal or not? Well, folks, I have numerous students, and we teach it. We said, make at least 25 grand on a property. Some people make up to $100,000 on one property. Now, how could you make $100,000? Well, I'll tell you how. The whole secret to the business is simply this. When you buy one of these properties, you're going to buy it low, and then you're going to turn around and you're going to sell it low. You're going to buy it low, and you're going to sell it low. And so these people make $25,000, $50,000, and $100,000 profit on tax defaulted properties. Okay, now one of my students went to the auction and he purchased a property for $5,000. Now it actually started out, it was about a $50,000 home according to the tax collector, but it started out at $1,500 was the first bid because they were trying to get back taxes. Well, the bidding went up to $3,000, then it went up to $4,000. When it got to $4,900, it stopped. And so my client then bid $5,000. Now think about this, $50,000 property, and they bought it for $5,000 with no mortgage. Well, the proof is in the pudding because you're going to have to sell it. And if you're going to have to sell it, you better think about that a little bit. So we spent a lot of time teaching people how to sell. So what did he do? On his way after the auction to go review the property, what he did is he dropped by Home Depot, got a few for sale signs. Simple as that. He wrote for sale on it, and he also wrote on there, installment sale. Now, America buys payments. Let me tell you that again. If you didn't know it, America buys payments. A couple of my other videos explain that, but I'll give you a briefing of it right now. Simply said, when people buy a car, they want payments. When people want a house, they want payments. People want a new refrigerator, they want payments. You're getting the idea. So everybody's used to installment payment. Well, the other side of that is we have a whole bunch of people that don't have very good credit. Okay, so they got FICO scores that are down on the bottom, like 400 instead of the 700 that's really needed to buy something. So those people are about 25% of the market. Now, listen, I'm not a credit guy, but I know from talking to enough people that about 25% of the people can't get financing at a bank. So if you put on your sign, installment sale, I'm going to tell you, it's like a beacon light going on and off. Those people drive by, they see that, they stop right away. So watch what kind of deal my guy makes. Now remember, he spent $5,000 for a $50,000 property. Now I teach people, buy it low. Well, that's buying it pretty low if you bought it for $5,000, but sell it low. So buy low and sell low. Now everybody in real estate teaches the same thing. Buy it low and sell it high. Well, just try it. You'll wait forever to sell these houses. It takes a long time, especially if they're a little bit used and abused. So these houses are not perfect. They're going to need paint. They're going to need cleanup. We're not getting properties in the country club. All the A properties in the country club, the bidding goes so high you'll never get one. So I don't even waste time with those. All right, so here's the deal. My guy buys it for $5,000. All right, he gets a sign, puts installment sales on it, and he decided he put it on Craigslist. That doesn't cost anything. All right, puts it on eBay, pennies to put it on eBay. How about put it on Facebook Marketplace? You're getting the idea. Doesn't spend a lot of money. He's going to try and sell this property. Well, he does. The next thing you know, because traffic is generated by all that advertising and the sign, someone comes in and offers $350 a month. Well, that kind of sounds like a car payment, doesn't it? So this is a little house, $350 a month. And so he said, all right, I'll sell it to you for $350 a month. However, you'll have to sign a contract that you'll pay me. So we call that a contract for sale. So it's nothing more than a promissory note. So sure enough, $350 a month. At the end of the year, $4,200 in income. Now let's think about this. Number one, he invested $5,000. By the end of the year, he's going to have $4,200 of it back. That's about an 80% return where I come from. Now he's going to get 10 more years of that. So let's see, $4,200 a year, and he's going to get 10 years of that. That means $42,000. So he took a $5,000 investment and created $42,000 in income. How would you like to have $42,000 in income? This system works that way again and again and again. This guy started out with a $5,000 investment. How do you think his family's going to feel about that? Pretty darn good. $42,000. What if he does it 2 or 3 or 5 times a year? I've got one student who's done it 60 times in 6 years. That's right. He's no longer a student. He started out as a student. Now he's a coach. All right, so the defaulted property business allows you to buy property 60, 70, 80% discounts. Folks, if you're buying for 20 cents on the dollar, are you going to be able to sell it for 50 cents on the dollar? Well, I think so. So as I said, I have one client that's done 60 of those properties in just 6 years. You could be doing the same thing. Now, I'm about to finish up, but I always answer questions. So if you have a question, you send it in. I'll get it answered for you, and we'll answer you back right away. So here's the question. Okay, this is a beautiful business, folks, because we got all the expenses out of it. You don't need an attorney. You don't need a broker. You don't need anyone. You can do all of these contracts. You can go to my website and find the contracts, but we would tell you use professionals whenever you can. For example, if this is your first deal, your coach will probably tell you, look, go over and have the title company do all the work and make sure it's done absolutely right, because you want everything to be perfect. You want to make sure the client is taken care of as well as you're taken care of. So I would say use professionals, but you don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on brokers, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on attorney. The bank doesn't want to write off these mortgages, and how on earth are we going to get that mortgage off the property? So let me simplify it for you. The local government has power. Now, the power originally comes from the state legislature, and then it's filtered down to the county treasurer. Now, the county treasurer has power, and the county treasurer has the power to wipe out a mortgage that's on the property. Now, in the process of doing that, the county treasurer will send the bank all the notices that the homeowner is getting. Say, we're going to take this property, we're going to take the property. If the bank wants to come in and pay the taxes, then the bank can take the property. But they're going to get wiped out if they don't show up. So they're not going to show up because they don't want houses under $50,000. They don't want these houses that we're willing to buy at tax auctions that got $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 houses. They don't want those. They want the big houses, country club deals where they can lend 80% and they know the people are going to pay them and all that. They don't want, it's just too much work for them. So we're willing to do the work and we're going to get nice rewards. But the answer to the question is the government has power to wipe out the mortgage. And they can wipe out a lot of other things too. When you start to go to auctions, they can change the price right on the spot. I've been there and watched the auctioneer take instruction from a treasurer, cut a price in half, cut it to $100 because they want to get rid of it. They want to sell the property. The county does not want property. All the county wants out of this deal is they want to get their tax money and get this property back on the tax roll. They would rather have their property on the tax roll than anything else. If it's on the tax roll, it's generating money for the county to pay for the libraries, to pay for the hospitals, to pay for the police department. You get the idea? Let's talk about those two mistakes. Mistake number one, don't buy a property unless you've looked at it. Why? What if there was a hurricane yesterday? What if there was a fire last night? Anything could happen to a property if you haven't looked at it. Could have been a flood, could have been a windstorm. Lots of things could go wrong. Now, if you haven't looked at the property, it might be next to a chicken farm. I don't think you want to buy one next to a chicken farm. How are you going to resell it? So don't look at, it's a big mistake. If you don't look at the property, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I see it happening all the time. People buy properties they can't resell. Second big mistake that happens is many investors are really excited about the auction. They want to make money. They want to get into it. And they start buying properties that they haven't planned their exit strategy. Now, an exit strategy simply says to you and your investors, look, if we're going to do this, what are we going to sell it for? So you don't want to buy something that you don't know what you can sell it for, because you'll just keep bidding to win the auction. You don't want to win the auction. You want to buy it at a price where you can resell it. If you haven't thought about the reselling and the exit, you could get yourself in trouble. Now, I want you to stay tuned, because right below me, I have a gift for you. It's called the Safe Haven. This is a nice little course that'll teach you about tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So you want to take advantage of that. Just go below me and register.